Okay, welcome to a brand new episode of White Heat, episode 37. We have some crazy news to get into to lead off this episode. But first off, I don't know about you, but I don't know about y'all, but the weather we've been experiencing here in upstate New York, I'm sure isn't quite that far from what JJ's been experiencing over in Connecticut. It's very bipolar right now. It's 50 one day, 20 the next, no wind one day. Wind chills 20 below the actual temperature the next day. It's been pretty stupid out there. Well, if you're out there and you're trying to figure out, all right, how much longer do I need to keep the heat on? And you're having troubles with your heating system and wondering if you need to get them addressed now or if you can put it off till next winter, how about you just avoid all that problem by calling Johnstone Supply in Troy if you're in the capital region in upstate New York. They're ready to help you as you get through the rest of this frigid winter. It's more important than ever to make sure your furnace or boiler is ready to handle the extra workload that has been going on throughout the winter. And if you have issues now, the way things are going right now, who knows if we're going to have these cold temperatures for another month or 2 months, whatever it may be. Make sure you tell your family, friends, and more to call Johnstone Supply in Troy, 518-272-5922. Or you can always stop by 6th Avenue in Troy to visit the store, talk to Kevin, James, or Rob, or hell, talk to Tom, who just had a baby girl this past week. Good for you, Tom. Talk to anyone of the crew. They'll give you the advice you need to get out of that dilemma and figure out the best solution for you, whether it's just fixing air filters or getting a brand new furnace. Maybe get yourself a new high-efficient Goodman furnace, or maybe get a Navian boiler, whatever it is. Go and visit them at 6th Avenue in Troy, or give them a call, 518-272-5922. Mr. Alexander, how you been?
Doctor's appointments is pretty much the only time I leave the house.
It's me, your answer pretty much every week. I should just stop asking how you're doing at this point. I feel like is the norm for you. So we're just gonna roll with that. All right, so we're gonna address the elephant in the room that's come out, because as we're recording this on Tuesday, February 15th, early afternoon, there's an elephant in the room that came out this morning, and it needs to be breached right away. We need to just put it all out there, lay the cards out on the table, because, and yes, I have a blue tongue. I'm sorry. I drank a juice earlier. My bad. I just noticed it on camera. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going for the, who usually had the blue tongue?
George Animal Steel.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I knew it was an old school wrestler. I couldn't think off the top of my head who it was. So this morning, AEW, Cody Rhodes, and Brandi Rhodes all put out, and Tony Khan, I believe, all put out their own statements, basically announcing that Cody and Brandi are not renewing their contracts with AEW. That Brandi's stepping as being chief branding officer. Cody is stepping away from AEW. AEW put out a statement. Cody and Brandi put out thank you statements. Tony put out a thank you statement to those two. This whole Cody contract thing has been kind of around the rumor mill the last couple of months, because he's been relatively open about the fact that he said he hadn't signed a contract since his expired back in December. He had been mentioning it in a couple of promos that he did on the television shows, so on and so forth. And now this happens. I will say this before I pass it on to you, JJ. I am at a point with these two people in particular where, all right, so in wrestling, there's this phrase called suspension of disbelief. I'm at a point with these two in particular where, not in a good way, I don't know what to believe at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've gotten to a point where I don't know whether to take everything at face value with them anymore. Now, there's rumors and conjecture out there about Cody, and we'll get into that afterwards. But the first thing I want to do is pass the baton to you in this relay race, have you take the next leg of this topic, and give me, your initial...
Got it.
Oh, goodness gracious. I hope y'all caught that on the YouTube video. Okay, so what your initial reaction was emotionally. Like, give me an emotion that was your first reaction, and
My
then I want you to tell me your your thoughts about this whole situation, and we'll get into the future, potential future in a second. But just your initial reactions to what you thought when this all came out.
my initial reaction, I will tell you exactly. I was in a doctor's office this morning, and I was looking at my phone, and I looked and went. And the second I saw it, I showed my phone to the wife. I turned and went, "That's bullshit."
So you're saying this is all an elaborate work from
It's
from a
total
company that doesn't know how to do elaborate works.
total fucking work. I'm telling you, this isn't. So this isn't AEW's doing as far as it being a work. This is Cody and Brandi and Time Warner. They need something interesting for season 2 of Roads to the Top.
So you think this? So you're saying this is more to do with the reality show than anything else? This really is. This is very non AEW.
This has to do with Cody having a contract with Time Warner to do the stupid ass fucking game show and to do the stupid ass knockoff Ms. and Mrs. And they realize that they don't have any material for the season 2 of Roads to the Top because the first one was just kind of meh. And all it did was expose the fucking business. So they did the whole thing where Cody's working without a contract. And what are we going to do? And now it's going to, I guarantee you, it's going to be Roads to the Top is going to come out in a couple of months, and it's going to end on the cliffhanger of what are they going to do now? Because Cody and Brandi both resigned, and what's going to happen? And then sometime middle of the fucking summer or end of after the season finale is aired, and AEW is getting ready to have their Q3 or Q4 fucking pay-per-view, boom, in walks Cody.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I'm of the camp where I just don't know. Like and I don't want to go as far as to say I don't care because like there's a part of me that wants to go there. But at the same time, I do because of a couple of factors. Number one, there's always the outside factor of what's being rumored currently. Now, granted, the person this rumor is coming from, you and I don't like one fucking bit. But
Uncle Dave?
Yes.
Oh,
so
boy.
The talk is out there that apparently Cody has had some kind of contact with WWE.
Yeah, no.
Right.
He burned that fucking bridge long ago, and every time the bridge gets reconstructed, he shows up with another can of gas.
Right. So I'm just going to leave that be at this point. As I just realized my door is open, and just in case somebody shows up, I'm going to close it. But the real factor to be considered here going forward is now hypothetically, assuming that these two, as long as they are not under contract and are living up to quote unquote their word, they're out of the picture now.
For now.
That means, okay, this means corporate structuring wise, he's leaving behind this company in the hands of your favorite tag team in the world and what's the nickname you have for
Twinkle
Kenny?
Toes McFinger Fuck.
Thank you.
Twinkle Toes McFinger Fuck.
I know the McFingle Fuck. I couldn't think of the Twinkle Toes. Okay.
Well, that's all Cornette. I'm just borrowing that trademark.
Oh, right. So you're leaving the company behind. And this isn't much of a compliment, but out of the four, you could make an argument where Cody was the most sensible mind out of the four or the second most sensible mind out of the four. Because we're automatically putting the Bucks on the back end of that list. So how much more out of control can these bookings and the such possibly be the next? And trust me, we're gonna get into booking a little bit in a few moments because I need to unleash some rage about AEW. Um, like, where do we go from here at this point with AEW? Like, are we gonna get to a point where now it's just like anything goes? There's no, there's no vetoing anymore. Like, what even happens at this point?
Where do we go from here? This reminded me of the Buffy musical. So where do we go is it's this is gonna be a hard left in assholeville is what it's gonna be. This is going to show who really has been pulling the reins in. um like, I have no love for Cody whatsoever. uh like, all he did was rehash his dad's greatest hits as far as booking wise goes, but at least he was rehashing the booking of someone who knew what they were doing.
Right.
You got the, like, and Cornette even said it better than me earlier in the weekend. He was just like, now you've got the dude who sat there, he's just got his action figures that he played with in his basement, and now the people are the action figures, and he's just doing whatever the hell he wants with them. It reminds me of, okay, so there's this one scene in the movie Small Soldiers, which it was on the other night and reminded me of it. Every time I see it, I think of Tony Khan. It's the scene where the little freaking shit 5-year-old neighbor kid sees like all the Commando Elite figures and they're all in the living room there. And he's like, you're the leader. And then one day you get shot. And now this guy's the leader. And the guy's like, I had nothing to do with this, sir. That's Tony Khan. Every time I see that, I'm like, that's how Tony Khan books.
I'm going to delve into this analogy more
Okay.
later, as we dive deeper into AEW. But I'm going to give a personal analogy for us right now.
Uh-huh.
The structuring of this company, from a wrestling point of view, is almost a complete 1,000% match to what NEFW was.
Oh, God.
Think about this.
Oh, God, dude, you just brought my PTSD to the forefront.
Tony is Eric.
Uh-huh.
And then the rotating committee, quote unquote, that Eric kept is the Bucks, Kenny, and Cody.
Which one am I?
I'm not labeling you personally one of those guys, but you get the point.
I mean, if you're gonna use that mentality, then you could technically say that I was Cody because I had the most wrestling knowledge to use what was there. You could say Camaro was Kenny because he just wanted to make himself, and you could say the Bucks was Mees because all he cared about was getting his own shit in.
I'm just saying
the Bucks were Mees and Leary. Oh my God.
I'm glad you picked up what I put down. Yeah, I just.
Oh my God, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I had a thought. I just had like an epiphany, like while you were talking about like the and I just realized something. I realized where all this is going already. Because of when we delve into Dynamite, we're going to see something pop up. But they're basically trying to pull the whole, yes, we're elite, but we were Bullet Club first and you're Bullet Club for life. And now they're going to try to ramp up Elite versus Bullet Club until fucking Devitt and New Japan go, we own the intellectual property, knock this shit off. But in the meantime, they're going to keep using the terms until they get that cease and desist. And it's all going to culminate in some big turf war at a pay-per-view. And in the end, in walks Cody because he was in fucking Bullet Club and he started this shit with Kenny and the Bucks. And he's going to go, there's no need for us to fight, guys, because in the end, we're all elite. And fade to black. Yeah, that's exactly what I'll be doing when it happens.
I hope not, because I don't need
I'm
that.
telling you that it's so soap opera-ish and bullshit. Watch. Watch.
That hurts my brain to think about.
Uh-huh.
I'm also going to put out another possibility.
Okay.
Actually, I'll save that for my AEW thoughts.
Okay.
But like, so let's just put a bow on this topic this way.
Okay.
I'm gonna set an over under.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me if you're gonna take the over that total or under that total.
Okay.
So it's February 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set their pay-per-views are usually
March.
the first
May,
weekend of March.
September. Yeah.
March, Memorial Day.
Yeah. September is usually when they do the like Labor Day weekend is when they do.
Right. And then November.
Yeah.
So let's go based off the timetable September. Let's say over under 6.5 months. Are you taking the over or the under for how long we don't have Cody and or Brandi on camera in any wrestling company?
In any wrestling company or in any televised wrestling company?
We're not counting indies.
Okay.
We're talking
fair enough.
We're talking WWE, AEW, New Japan, those brands.
6.5 months, you say?
Yeah.
I will take
we'll say end of August is the cutoff.
I will take the over, but only slightly.
Okay. So you're thinking like September pay-per-view would be like the earliest.
Yeah. Because isn't September when they do because they do the two in the year, they do the all out and double or nothing are the ones where they do the huge fan fest around them, right?
Right. Correct.
So yeah, whichever one is the later where they do Starcast and all that shit, that's where Cody shows up.
Okay.
And in the meantime, he's going to jaw jack on the fucking indies with fucking Mike O'Brien and fucking all these fucking money mark companies that are like fucking GCW and Defy and all this shit. And fucking
so you
BWG.
think? So you're of the opinion that he's going to basically try to take Matt Cardona's thunder for 6 months, which we'll talk about Matt Cardona a little bit. He's going to kind of go the Matt Cardona route, take the 1 or 2 day a week work approach, like he wasn't doing that anyways. And just live off the indies for 6 to 8 months.
Well, I don't think he's going to live off the indies. I think he's going to live off his Turner contract.
Well,
because, like I said,
you know what I mean, though.
Right. That's the thing is they're financially stable right now with the freaking game show and the reality show paycheck coming in, where they don't need AEW right now. And what Cody will do is he will put out that he is available for indie bookings, and he's going to charge some exorbitant fucking Rey Mysterio Braun Strowman fee. And there's going to be 1 or 2 that'll bite, like Mike O'Brien. Mm-hmm. And then what's going to happen is he's going to have like a fucking guerrilla camera crew with him to film those little spots. So that way, when we start filming season 3 of Roads to the Top, it'll be like, and this is how Cody made a living in the meantime. And he had to slum it in high school gyms and armories.
All right. Well, Jesus. All right. Can I throw out one more hypothetical?
Sure.
Because especially considering what you just said for the grandiose storytelling you're hypothesizing for AEW, is there any chance? This isn't me hoping this, by the way. It's just an option I thought of. Is there any chance Cody says, you know what? Fuck the indies. let me see if New Japan will bite for a few months.
I could see that.
Especially if he's trying to maybe potentially rebuild what little relationship was there before.
Yeah, considering that shit's out the window, yeah.
I'm just saying, from a diplomacy point of view, it wouldn't be a half bad idea for him to go over there, tour with them on and off for 6 months.
Right.
And then if he is coming back, you've now reopened that door potentially if you've dotted all your I's and crossed your T's while you were in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good possibility.
Yeah. I'd say right now, out of the possibilities, I'd say I'd put New Japan as the top possibility, slightly over the Indies.
Yeah.
And then number 3 would be nothing at all. Just sit at home, raise your kid, live off your checks.
Right.
And then the very bottom option is the one we believe is a non-option. But just for the sake of discussion, we'll leave WWE as last option. So that all being said, let's just get into the AEW stuff from Wednesday night and Friday night. And let me just begin by saying this, okay? So, not last night's Raw on the night of Valentine's Day, the week before, February 7th, was the all-time lowest rating. I don't know about all-time, but it's the lowest rating in a very long time Monday Night Raw had.
No, I think they said it was the lowest rated in the history of the show.
So it was on Sci-Fi. Obviously, it's hard to get the crossover crowd. Plus, I'm not even sure Sci-Fi is available as widely as USA. I don't think they are. Because I think there might be some packages where it's considered like a premium channel.
Yeah.
So basically, they went all the way down to, I believe the number was around 1.314, 1.4 million.
1,375,000.
Okay, so about 1.4. Okay, so you had that working for you, and you also had your FTR tag match against Punk and a mystery partner. You had your Texas Death Match, which we'll get into in a moment. Don't get me fucking started right now. We'll work towards it. What the fuck else do they have?
The fucking big Forbidden Door surprise that Tony Khan hyped up for a
week. Right. You had the Inner Circle jerk thing promo. All right. So you had all that booking working for you against the lowest rated Raw of all time. And you still drew just 1.1 million, about 200,000 to 300,000 behind the lowest rated Raw of all time.
But they beat them in the demo.
So do me a favor. Shut the fuck up. All right? Don't try to tell me there's a competition right now. Because, like the comparison I gave about 10 minutes ago, and I've been saying on and off for a while now, AEW is nothing more than a high-profile indie company that happens to have a TV contract. That's all it fucking is, all right? And if it didn't show with the what's I trying to say? If it didn't show with the way matches were laid out during the 2 hours of Dynamite this past week, then you don't understand the difference between the brand of sports entertainment and pro wrestling WWE has been doing for years and years, and the brand of professional wrestling that the indies typically do, which is what AEW is the champion of right now because of their image and their popularity and TV contract and the such.
Yeah.
So the first note I had, so that's the first note I had. Second of all, and I'm not sure if I'm in chronological order with the show. I might be, I might not be. So jump in whatever you want. Because I know you have notes too, just like I do. The biggest question I have right now, based off the early portion of Dynamite last week, it's no longer if, it's a when Wardlow separates himself from the Pinnacle. Let's just agree on that.
Yeah.
The obvious direction they're going to do first is Wardlow as a face
Yeah,
against the Pinnacle. Or at least that would make sense for being the first program.
it would.
Once you wear that welcome out, how far could you really? Because here's the other thing you have to factor in: you have other bigger guys,
Mm-hmm.
especially now that you have Keith Lee, which we'll get into in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Powerhouse Hobbs would count as a bigger guy. You have a
Yeah.
Brody King as a bigger guy.
Yeah. You've got Lance Archer.
You got Archer. Like, where does Wardlow fit into the picture of those bigger guys? Because right now, Archer he's basically a spectacle at this point. Like, he's a
He's a special attraction when they need something.
Thank you, special attraction. Thank you. That's what I was going for. Powerhouse. He's
he's on YouTube.
He's stuck in a weird spot with Team Taz. There's no real way to profile him properly. Mm-hmm. Brody King. We all know what's developing with him and Malachi.
Yeah.
And then we know what's going. And then Keith Lee. We can only imagine what's going to happen with him.
Mm-hmm.
So where does Wardlow fit into the picture of all the big guys and the potential mid-card main eventers within the roster of AEW? Is there a potential for him to? And obviously there's Miro too, who we keep forgetting because he's been
lost in the void.
Where does he fit in at this point?
He's gonna get that little bit of storyline bit, and then he's gonna get lost in the shuffle like everyone else. They're gonna be like, and the thing is, because Wardlow can't talk, it's already been proven. So he's gonna get pushed like a monster fucking baby face for a short amount of time, and then he's gonna disappear like everyone else on the AEW roster that's not buddies with the EVPs and isn't named Punk, Danielson, or Moxley.
Now you mentioned not being able to do promos, so obviously the ideal situation would be to put him with a mouthpiece. But the problem is 90% of their mouthpieces are heel.
Not only that, but their mouthpieces are hardly mouthpieces. Like, take Dan Lambert out of the equation for a second.
Yeah, like Jake, not really a mouthpiece, and when he does talk, it no offense.
He's got Jake, COPD. It's hard. Like,
yeah.
Arn cuts a promo every once in a while. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen to Arn now that Cody's not there on TV?
Right. Vicky Guerrero, she's strictly a woman's manager.
Yeah.
Tully doesn't really speak much at all, and when he does, it's like 2 sentences, and FTR carries the rest.
Yep.
Plus he's with Pinnacle, so that wouldn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
Any of the guys involved with AHFO, whether it be Andrade's assistant, Matt Hardy himself. The only guy that I can think of there's like 2 face mouthpieces per se that I can think of. Mm-hmm. That would be, was it Alex Abrahantes who's with Penta?
Yeah.
And he just does the whole Penta says gimmick. Right. All right, so 3. I didn't think of Christian. So Christian. And then he's not really a mouthpiece because he's also a talent. Well, that's the same for Christian too. But Chris Jericho, that's really the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot of options out there. Unless you want to just go with the quiet, angry, big guy thing. But
he'll be the last guy in the 4 workhorses. You know, that I'm telling you that there's going to be some stupid ass fucking stable that gets made that's a hodgepodge, and it's going to be like, if Moxley doesn't do it, it's going to be Danielson. Like, I see Danielson, Moxley, Kingston, and Wardlow.
Well, I suppose maybe it could happen. I don't know,
because they're just going to be like, let's take all these guys that are over on their own, but only to an extent, and make another fucking stable because we don't have enough of those in AEW already.
So let's jump ahead, because that also involves all this bullshit with Inner Circle, because Eddie is in the middle of this bullshit between Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz. And that segment felt like it went 5 minutes too long. Now, this is going to sound really ignorant of me. Can you remind me which one's Santana, which one's Ortiz? Because I never seem to be able to figure out who's who.
Santana's the taller one.
Okay.
Don't feel bad. They've done nothing to establish them as individuals. And I mean that is an AEW hasn't, and they themselves haven't.
I just don't know what you. So basically, your two options at this point are A, blow up in a circle, or B, let this be a match where like Santana Ortiz beat the respect they wanted out of Jericho, and then all's good on like
right.
I don't think there's any other option aside from that, honestly, now that I think about it. Like there's no good direction to go.
Right.
Because Eddie is so like in the wind, nobody seems to know what he's doing at this point. I just don't see them having Eddie involved at all in this match that they're going to have on Dynamite with Hager and Jericho.
It seems like Eddie is trying to take reins in the backstage, and
which
it's only going to go so far. Oh yeah, I agree. Eddie is a great. That's why like when NXT wanted to hire Eddie, they wanted to have him as more of a backstage coach, and that would have been great for him because Eddie is great as being like you want a locker room leader, you call Eddie Kingston. Like Eddie knows what the fuck he's doing, but that's only going to go so far because eventually Tony Khan's going to be like, I'm the one with the money. You're the talent. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I don't know where, honestly, I don't know where Eddie fits in at all with anything going on on screen right now.
Yep.
Cause there's that. And then you mentioned the Danielson and Moxley thing. Eddie hasn't been brought up really at all by Danielson since their interaction backstage like 2 months ago. Like, so either A, Eddie just really wants to build suspense for when he eventually does do something, or they just are really that fucking clueless about what to do with Eddie at this point.
I'm gonna go with clueless.
Which leads to more cluelessness because so we had Andrade and so we finally had Andrade and Sting and Darby in the same place at the same time.
Oh yeah, on Rampage.
And Sting basically says he hasn't worked for me, whatever, that whole fucking thing. But then we have in the midst of all that, I believe Darby mentioned the TNT title. And then for really no fucking reason, because he hasn't wrestled in like 2 months, I don't think, Andrade says, essentially, fuck you, I want the TNT title.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that doesn't understand anything there.
Yeah. Nothing makes sense. Because, like, here we go once again, going back to what I said last week as to they tried to establish the TNT title as, like, the open challenge title where anyone could walk in and challenge for it. But now guys are fucking, like, chomping at the like, I want to fight for it. I want to fight for it. Let's have a fucking ladder match for a giant Cheerio to see who fights for it. And, like, fucking, like, you completely just negated what you tried to fucking say was happening. Like none of it makes sense. And fucking in the meantime, Sammy carrying 2 belts does not mean anything.
It looks stupid.
It looks fucking ridiculous. It looked okay. So anytime where there was like 2 belts for the same thing, it looked ridiculous. Like the only time it didn't look ridiculous, I would say, and this is just
Jericho became the first champ,
when Jericho became the first champ, and him having them, yeah, that made sense. From an aesthetic point of view, the only time I ever saw anything that kind of looked good was when Trips won the belt before they introduced the Undisputed title. So he would have the big gold with the winged eagle over it, like as one strap, and just carry it, and it looked good. Because anytime a guy's wearing 2 belts or clamps the belts together and puts them over his shoulders or anything, it just looks fucking stupid. And there's no reason to have 2 belts now. We get it. You did the quote unquote unification, which didn't need to happen in the first place. And they're the same fucking belt. Like, fucking, you carrying a replica belt. Fuck off.
Everybody wants to pull off the Ultimo Dragon picture. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, there's a difference. Ultimo Dragon fucking won all those belts in different fucking companies.
I know. I know. I know. This all leads me to a question because, and it's a question I can't believe I didn't ask this before.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the situation we were in. We're now in a position where we have two channel specifically labeled belts. I don't even know if that was. I don't even know if that was proper grammar what I just fucking said, but fuck it.
I know it was.
So you have the TNT title on the
Mm-hmm.
male side, the TBS
Mm-hmm.
title on the female side.
Mm-hmm.
You also have your heavyweight title, your tag titles, your main women's world title.
Yep.
So you have two main male. You have two main titles, two secondary titles, one for each gender, essentially,
Was
and
the
then
secondary? I know.
and then the tag team titles.
Yes.
Is it crazy for me to say? This is a two-prong question.
Okay.
A, the channel-specific belt champions should only defend those belts at pay-per-views or on those channel-specifically branded shows.
Mm-hmm.
And B, combine that now with that logic with, and I know being logical is beyond AEW more often than not, but using that logic combined with the immensely stupidly sized roster they have,
Mm-hmm.
would it make sense for them to at least have a conversation about going the WWE route and having not necessarily doing everything that WWE does involving this, but doing some kind of brand split with the roster? Because at this point, you have a situation where there's a certain number of guys and gals getting coverage on both shows that's unnecessary when you could just do some kind of split and just like, okay. Now, the other end of it is if you do a split, you're also going to have to work out something with TNT, I think, to give equal treatment to somehow get a second hour on Rampage.
Right.
Because they're not going to be able to fit Rampage feels like a clusterfuck enough as it is with 1 hour. 2 hours allows them more space to uncluster the clusterfuck, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can somehow wiggle a second hour out of Turner for Rampage, to me, a brand split just makes logical sense for this company. Honestly, it makes more sense for them than it does with WWE, because WWE, because they cut so many talents, they just barely get away with it in WWE because they have guys who are talented enough to pull off 2 to 3 segment matches and have it look good the whole time. And they have talents that can pull off legitimate 10, 15, 20-minute promo segments. AEW doesn't have that. So because of the numbers game they have, I think it makes even more sense for them to do the brand split and try to get more coverage for more workers at that point.
I could see that. Here's my thought on it. They're putting so much emphasis lately on their fucking YouTube.
7 billion hits, whatever the fuck it was you showed me the other day, or whatever.
That
7 billion views or something like that.
They officially hit 1 billion views.
Oh, 1 billion views. Sorry.
Yeah, 1 billion views. And before that, it was we officially have 3 million subscribers, which I thought was hilarious because Impact, which gets seen by less people, has 4 million subscribers. But maybe if you're going to try to put all this focus on it, and maybe if you want to be taken fucking seriously, you revamp your fucking YouTube shows into making them more than squash matches where indie guys are getting $300 paydays. And you actually fucking do, or like just switch it so that fucking what's the one that Dark Elevation is the one that's filmed on the soundstage at Universal. Make that your WCW Worldwide. Make that the squash match show, and then use Dark to try to do something with all these fucking people you have on your fucking payroll, where have fucking turn that into superstars slash main event, where you fucking do it. And then what you do is you use that show to build up contenders to your secondary title. So that if someone's on a roll on fucking YouTube and then you show recaps of said roll on the YouTube on the fucking main show, you take 3 minutes to show clips instead of devoting all this fucking time to the same backstage interview where someone gets jumped every fucking 10 minutes of every fucking week. You fucking show this, you fucking and then it shows someone climbing up the ranks to try to get to the TBS title or the TNT title or the TBS title. Do it with the women too. And then fucking
yeah, I agree. They could definitely take better advantage of what they're doing on their YouTube shows. Like they should treat them more like the WCW Saturday Night and WCW Worldwide shows that existed in the past,
right.
where you may not have had, like once a great while, you may have had an upper card person perform on that just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But it was mostly used to enhance lower and mid card talents.
Exactly.
And provide your lower card programs so that you're helping develop talents, give them the confidence, build their characters so that when you feel like they're ready for bigger programs on the TV shows, it's a smoother and better transition, and there's not a huge quality drop off when it does happen.
Right. So you do that, and so you do that shit where you're building up the lower to mid card guy to looking towards getting a run at the mid card title, and then once they've kind of reached that spot, you bring them up to Dynamite, and you have them get a shot at the TNT title. They don't specifically have to win, but maybe because they've showed their progress, then you keep them on Dynamite and you cycle down someone onto fucking Dark.
Or
and you keep doing this, and then what happens is once in a while have the fucking TNT title get defended on Dark, have the tag titles get defended on Dark. Like you would see you'd see the US and TV title and tag titles get defended on WCW Saturday Night. So why the fuck not?
Or I'll even give you another option. And this is not me advocating to do more titles, but it's an option. What if you took Dark and Dark Elevation and uses their form of WWE NXT?
You could
basically take all of your talents, all of your younger talents,
all your indie darlings that aren't ready for fucking TV.
Well, not even that. Just even your Brock Andersons, your Lee Moriartys, the guys that aren't quite ready for the big spotlight matches week in and week out, or the big spotlight programs on TV week in and week out. Take them, put them there, or even if you have some big names you just don't have any time with, use them as like
reasons to watch.
Well, yeah, that, and you could use them as the way NXT has been using the Pete Dunnes and the Tommaso Ciampas. You use them to work with the lower end guys that are on the brink of breaking through, but just need a little more work. That's there's good stuff in place. It's just not being used properly.
Right.
So if they can find a way to revamp their strategies behind their current products, there's hope for AEW becoming bearable. There is. But it's just a matter of certain things being changed to make it bearable. That being said, here's what's not bearable for me.
Everything on Dynamite.
Can we not have Jay White with the Bucks? I know they're trying to. I know Adam Cole dropped a mention on Rampage. Oh no! He dropped this comment on Dynamite before the Bucks match on Rampage, because they did a quick 30-second promo backstage with Cole and the Bucks, and Cole was like, "You can trust Jay White. Bullet Club, blah, blah.
And they're like, Kenny doesn't like Jay. Yeah.
Like, and you know
Kenny
why
is now
Kenny,
Poochie.
and you know why Kenny, well, you know why Kenny, quote unquote, doesn't like Jay?
Because
If this is
Jay
the route
became
they're
the new
really
leader of
going,
the Bullet Club.
even more basic than that.
Because Jay's fucking talented.
Jay's the one that pinned Kenny clean to become the new U.S. champ in New Japan.
Yep.
He's the one that took the belt off him before he went and pissed off Josh Barnett in California against Juice Robinson.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I saw a clip of a few nights ago, and it made me laugh because I remember watching that show live, and I was like, "Oh, Jay done fucked up." And then Barnett got up from the table. I'm like, "Oh, you really done fucked up." For those of you who don't know, go and try to find the clip. It was a California show New Japan did. Christ, it was
5 years
pre-COVID.
ago. It was
Yeah,
5 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
I'll tell you how I know when you finish.
They did a show. I believe it was a Long Beach show because they did a couple in Long Beach. I think it was one of the Long Beach shows.
Yes, it was.
And so the way they set it up
It
was
also the show where Tanahashi almost broke his neck.
correct. So, against Dragon Kid?
I think so.
So the ring, the barricades as normal. The way what they did though was instead of having the announce table on the floor inside the rail or like kind of far away, they put it at a diagonal.
Yep.
At right behind the corner where the barricade met at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay and Juice do a spot at one point where Jay suplexed Juice into that corner of the barricade, not realizing that the announce table was essentially on top of that corner of the or maybe he did notice and just want to be a complete dick. So when he suplexed Juice, there was enough force where it pushed the announce table back, knocked JR in his ass.
Yep.
And Josh Barnett, like legit on commentary, unfiltered, uncensored, said, "Oh, you done fucked up, kid." And then Barnett gets up. He comes to the barricade. He chases White in and out of the ring. He had to be restrained and brought back to the announce. It was a cool moment because, like, it was one of those rare things you don't see a whole lot in New Japan. So let's just put it that way.
Yeah. The reason I know it was the reason I know it was 5 years ago was because having a conversation with DPW co-owner Shell the other day, and of course, Ringside News had to go and butcher a quote from Cornette from his latest edition of The Experience, where he talked about when Jay White showed up, and Cornette was basically like, "You're acting like, trumpets from heaven and blah, blah, blah." And he was like, and Cornette knows who Jay White is, but he was just like, "You think that your average person knows who Jay White is?" Like, and he's like, "I haven't recalled. Has he even wrestled in this country?" Because Cornette doesn't watch Impact, obviously, because of his bad falling out with TNA. But, and because I was having this conversation with Shell, and I was just like, "You got to give that to him." And she was like, "I still have an old DVR of the New Japan show in California from 5 years ago." And I was just like, "Yes, I get it. But you need to realize that the casual fan does not know who Jay White is.
Or watch New Japan."
Exactly. Like, we watch New Japan because we know it's on Access and because we're fans. But a lot of people, like, it's on a channel where Impact is, and a lot of people don't know what channel Impact is on. So, and Access is a pretty niche freaking channel. Like, I'm lucky it comes in my package on Sling. Like, not a lot of people have access.
Some people probably think that Impact is still on Destination America, for God's sakes,
or Pop TV.
Oh, Pop.
I mean, a lot of people watch Impact on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So like, can we actually get into Dynamite? Because we're just kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of bringing up random shit in the course of Dynamite.
So the MJF celebration at the beginning, it was good. I like the spirit of it. Like MJF coming out like Lawler and Memphis on the throne. The two chicks at ringside, I know the one on the left that gave him the kiss on the cheek, that was Gabby Ortiz from Monster Factory. So good on her for getting a payday. The other chick has to be MJF's girlfriend, because I don't know any indie chick that I don't care what your payday is to just make out like a freaking two anteaters on fucking camera with MJF.
Yeah,
like she's gotta be involved with him.
Yeah.
Like, ain't no like that. That was like a yeah. Okay, guys, that's enough. All right, we don't need porno tongue. It's enough. That's enough. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, good on Gabby Ortiz, and that it kind of made me mad later on with other people appearing because Gabby Ortiz is extremely talented, and she could have easily done one of the women's like squash matches and made shit look good. But well, we'll get to that. So, and like yeah, let's say won't wait too long. But so we get so and like you know what we get the Wardlow tease. We get FDR actually getting TV time, which is a miracle because God knows how often that happens. I mean, what I'm trying to think of the last time FTR was in a straight tag match. I remember the 6-man with MJF against Punk, Sting, and Darby was like a month or so ago, but
Mhm.
I can't remember the like. I think the last time FTR had a straight tag match was when it was right after they won the AAA tag titles, which if you've noticed, they haven't been wearing. So they're obviously AEW is on the outs with AAA again
Mhm.
because AAA gets really fucking like they get really touchy about their belts being on TV.
Right.
So I'm guessing they're on the outs with them again. But so you know FTR and they tell Punk and blah 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 and you know so we get FTR versus Punk and a mystery partner later on, which it's so funny. It's and people like I see people keep bringing up when are we going to get FTR versus the Briscoes? When are we going to get FTR versus? We're not going to get FTR versus the Briscoes. We went over this last week. It's not going to happen. At least not in AEW. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
They got booked for some indie show next month, if I remember correctly.
Oh, some indie show actually got smart enough to book it.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to find it. Go ahead though. Continue what you were
That I'm
saying.
telling you, whatever indie company it is, they better have a deal with fucking having their shit air on Fight. They better be pushing the fuck out of trying to get ticket sales for that. There should be no reason with if you have an internet presence and you bust your ass fucking advertising, like you will find a niche audience on that. And if you push enough advertising, people will come, people will travel. I hope it's an indie in a major metropolitan area because advertise the fuck out of that. You will draw a house, but you need to advertise for it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so you remember how Sting and Darby are an undefeated tag team, but for some reason Darby's going for the TNT title
Mm-hmm.
because that makes sense. Da, 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 da. Apparently everyone's losing their shit because apparently Penta's going to go back to being Pentagon Dark, which I don't know if y'all have noticed, but Penta Sarah Miedo basically is Penta Dark.
Yeah.
Like I watched Lucha Underground. He's been Penta Dark for years now. Like Pentagon Jr. looked different. But hey, what do I know? Another week of someone getting attacked backstage. Yeah, because we had a so we were finally going to get the Roppongi Vice versus Bucks match that for some reason got scrapped from Rampage 3 weeks ago. And then so we get the backstage attack. We get them doing the BTE trigger, which it looks fake as fuck in the ring. It looks even worse up close on camera. Especially we're like, okay, BTE trigger, like shut the fuck up. And then boom, in walks Jay White.
Yeah, like because I think when they hit it, they I don't think at least one of them didn't even hit.
Yeah.
AEW is dead. Do you hear me? I'm crashing the podcast. I came here, Brian and JJ, to let you guys know AEW is dead and this podcast killed it. All right? The day has come, boys. I could not wait any further. All right, I got to go. Bye, guys.
Guys, what the fuck?
You are officially Gazoo. He's Gazoo. That is his new name.
Gazoo?
Yeah, you remember the Flintstones? Gazoo?
Sure.
Hello, dum dum.
Do you want me to bring him back in? Do you want to talk about this at all? Should I bring him back in?
Gazoo. That is his new name.
I'm back and I'm ready, and I love the nickname, JJ. The death of AEW is today. Do you hear me? It's dead. It's over. It's done. The whole thing is dead. Cody Rhodes has buried AEW, and you guys got your wish.
Oh my God! What planet is this? How the fuck did he know we were doing this?
He wants the company, Dick. Come
Yeah,
on.
but still, I just thought you pre-recorded and sent this to him.
Oh, please. Come on. He's an admin. He can log whatever he wants. Come on.
Wow.
Top guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, dum dum. So,
where the hell were we?
Jay White.
Oh my goodness. Yes, Jay White. Go ahead.
So Jay White shows up, and that's that's great and all. Like, good thing Jay White's getting a payday. Because obviously he's stateside. He's not going back to Japan anytime soon. I just think it's kind of fucked up that the fact that Tony Khan admitted afterwards that he brought in Jay White as an afterthought because he fucked up his definition of the Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole thing was Keith Lee was supposed to be the Forbidden Door. No, because he's been a free agent for 3 months. So, and once again, we covered with I love Jay White. A lot of people don't know who Jay White is. You need to stop catering to a niche audience. But, so that was so it was okay, well, that was a surprise. No, because we were supposed to have the secret entrant to go against Isaiah Cassidy to get the ladder match for the Cheerio. And so we got Isaiah Cassidy in the ring and Keith Lee. So, okay. Good on Keith for getting a payday. And this, I love Keith Lee. But at this point, he's damaged goods. He got the whole argument on getting misused in WWE. He was sick and out for a long time. So they did what they could with him. I didn't like changing his music, and I didn't like making him change to the singlet with the shorts. I wasn't a big fan of that look, but you have to admit that when Keith Lee first came in, and you also got to remember, it was still Thunderdome. They brought him in and they put him in the main event picture right away. They did what they could. Remember, because the last time he appeared before disappearing, because as we found out later was heart problems, was a title match against Drew on Raw. And because him and Drew work well together. But it was one of those things where it was Vince and company expecting, because Keith Lee had been pushed to the moon on NXT, that the second you put him on Raw, your ratings are going to shoot up. They didn't give him a proper build when he first came in. Granted, because he had that great showing at Survivor Series a year prior, and that was all good. But he comes up and it was a fumble, but they were still employing him the entire time he was sick. And when he got better, they brought him back. And then it was Nick Khan that just went, money, gone. Because Nick Khan did the whole thing where he looks at people on a fucking spreadsheet and says, oh, well, we've been employing this guy and he hasn't sold jack for merchandise because he hasn't been on TV. So get rid of him. And that was Nick Khan's fault. I think if Keith Lee had stuck around, and we'll leave the whole Bearcat Lee thing out in the out the back door, because this is neither here nor there. He didn't have the name long enough to see if it was actually going to make any effect on his character. But it is what it is. Keith was a mid-carder that has been off TV and was off TV for most of the time of the last year that he was with WWE. So you bring him in, and great on him. You're getting a payday. At least they booked the match right, where he was just a monster throwing the kid around the ring. Which worked. I'm afraid that going forward, they're going to start. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I got the little buffering thing. They're less than. Because that's the problem with AEW, is they do it with their indie squash matches on YouTube, and they do it on Dynamite, where they take two people and every match is equally sided. And no, it doesn't always have to be that way. You look at Wardlow's squash matches, that's correctly done. But then you look at, they'll put in fucking They'll put in Darby against someone, and Darby will get just as much offense on a guy that's 100 pounds heavier than him. And it doesn't always work. It shouldn't be done that way. Like, there's a reason when you construct a match, you've got a beginning, middle, and an end, and you've got a hope spot. You can't have a match where every other minute there's another hope spot for the smaller guy. Because in the end, it makes the bigger person look like shit, or the more experienced person look less than. And I'm afraid that's what they're going to end up doing with Keith Lee. They're going to put him in there, and he's going to start working people like fucking Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks is going to get a match where he's going to get 50% of offense on him. And they're going to make Keith bump for him. And in the end, it's going to make Keith look less than. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm worried about.
By the way, I want to apologize for getting your hopes up. It was not FTR I saw them booked against.
Oh.
Briscoes and Lucha Brothers House of Glory, March 11th.
I was going to cover that later.
So.
Because I did see that. Because I sent that to you.
Yeah. No, I remember it. Okay.
Yeah. But so Keith's there. Keith's getting a payday. Good. Get your payday while it lasts, because God knows how long this company is going to keep going.
And the question still stands out there, by the way, since we're mentioning Keith, about what's going to happen with Mia Yim, because she's come out and said that the reason she's not wrestling
isn't going to work for him.
Well, not even that. It's like the reason why she's not working anything at all is because she had the wedding to take care of, and so on and so forth. Like, there was just a lot of shit going on with her. So now the question just becomes like, what happens on her end of things as well. So, but
I'm pretty sure she's going to end up going back to Impact, because Tony Khan has said he's not interested in bringing her in, which is stupid. Because you've got two not believable women's champions, and you've got people like Mercedes and Thunder Rosa there. And just between Mercedes, Thunder Rosa, fucking Mia Yim, and Ruby Soho, like, you've got a top tier of a women's division you're not using.
Serena Deeb.
Oh, yeah, Serena. Sorry. Forgot Serena. But yeah. Because then we get the tag match with FTR and Punk's mystery partners Mox, which that match was just clunky and sloppy.
Not just, I'll even be more specific. I felt like the whole last 5 minutes was clunky and sloppy. Huh? The Tully spot was painful to watch.
Oh God, with the jacket. I'm gonna swat you with the jacket.
The jacket, and then the Punk not being able to lift Tully, so he had to go back down and try it again.
Well, no, what happened was Tully did the jump. He did the hop up to post before Punk was ready to have him post.
Right. Yeah, the whole
FTR did the dramatic wrong.
Just the insane amount of false finishes towards the end. The whole thing was just, I mean, it was a decent match, but just like, it was one of those things where the last 5 minutes, like, just left me kind of like a little soured on the match overall. I feel like, all right, let me put it this way. The last 5 minutes brought the match down overall a little bit.
Absolutely. And also there was a major pet peeve I had, and it's like, and you know that AEW is watching WWE's product, like all 3 shows. 2 nights in a row, we saw a tag team do a Doomsday Device and the dude kick out at 2. How fucking disrespectful is that to the memory of the fucking Road Warriors?
Right, because they did it with the FTR. I'm trying to think of.
FTR did it. Well, Punk and Moxley did it to FTR, and fucking what do you call it? The GYV did it to the Creed brothers.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's fucking disrespectful. That's sacrilege. Like, I know there's not like you stole someone's move, yada yada, because everyone's move is, but no, you don't take the arguably the greatest tag team of any era and use their finisher as a fucking false finish. No, you don't do that. Yep. Tully swatting him with a jacket. Yep. Okay, we'll get past that match because yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So then we get Jade Cargill versus Aqua or Aka or
AQA.
AQA, which I said Jade comes out. I'm like, Jade looks like Alicia Fox lost a fight with a bedazzler.
Yeah, AQA comes from Reality of Wrestling, run by Booker T.
Booker T, right? And so and the match wasn't good, and that's a lot to do with Jade Cargill being terrible, but also with AQA not being ready for TV. Like there's a difference between being great on the indies and being ready for TV. That's why NXT was originally formed. Because that was a side note. That's an argument that I always see people talk about with NXT. Like NXT wasn't developmental. NXT was just signing all these indie talents to blah blah blah. No, they signed all these indie talents because these indie talents had to learn how to be TV ready. Because there is a difference between internet and between indie and TV.
And on top of that, think of what they were doing for the younger kids that weren't doing anything yet.
Right, exactly.
When they were training at the PC still.
Right. There's, it's the whole thing, like, it depends on who your trainer was and shit. Like I had trainers that worked for WWE and it's work smarter, not harder. And that's what a lot of indie guys, you realize indie guys sit there and then they wonder why they're all fucking beat up and everything hurts because they're bumping out there way too fucking much. You get to WWE and you realize, hey, I don't have to bump this much.
Yep.
But over on AEW, let's just bump and blade every fucking show.
Speaking of bump and blade.
Oh, we'll get there. Because of Aqua. Yeah, Aqua. We had 2 women's squash matches in a row.
Because you had the Deeb 5-minute challenge thingamabobber thing.
Right. And that, like I said, like you could have put at Gabby Ortiz in there. It would have been great. Instead, you had her versus, it was a PA or Jersey girl. I forget.
Yeah.
But like no offense and done. Like how are you and then, okay. Yeah. And then we get to the Texas death match, which wasn't a Texas death match because they don't know how the rules go. Cause God forbid you use Google. And we get the fight start backstage, and then we had Lance Archer go through the sugar glass, which, and I know Cornette mentioned this, but I had said it right away. I'm just like, your suspension of disbelief is right out the window when there's a camera on the other side of the sugar glass for no reason, just to have him go through. And then, you get Paige do the buckshot lariat right away. And then Dan Lambert comes out to take down the rope. So he can't do it again. Like, are you fucking serious? This is where we're going. And then Lance Archer thinks he's Abdullah the Butcher.
Can we just say that match is a perfect example of what I mean about AEW being an indie company that happens to have a TV contract?
Absolutely.
You had no build. You had no story.
Well, the story was he wanted a title shot.
Suck a dick. You built a title match. You built a title match out of nothing, which is what indie shows do. They book world title matches on a whim usually, 95% of the time. They just book whoever they fucking want against their champion just to, because they need a title match on the card. That's essentially what they've been doing right now. And that's what they've been doing for a while now. Like they don't often have programs going on. Like even think back to when Kenny had the belt. Like him facing Jungle Boy in Jungle Boy. There was no fucking program in that. He basically was like, "Hey, you're a small kid. You think you got what you got? Fuck it, get in the ring." Like,
well, didn't Jungle Boy win a tournament for that?
But there's no real program to that.
Oh, I know.
They just wanted to do it. Wasn't he the one that won the ring? He won the Cheerio, didn't he?
No. Scorpio Sky won the Cheerio. That was for the TNT title.
Oh yeah. That's right.
But maybe
Yeah,
maybe Jungle Boy won the giant poker chip. Maybe that was it.
Oh yeah, the double or nothing battle royal. That's right. He won the casino battle royale, whatever the fuck it is.
Oh yeah, because that's all they ever do is they have a battle royal or a fucking 8-man ladder match to see who's gonna face the fucking title holder.
Right, because again, that's an indie-rific thing to do. Have a battle royal, they'll win a title shot. At least with WWE, they do it one night a year, specifically for the purpose of creating a 3-month program.
Right.
Typically, for AEW, it's let's have the battle royal and then just whenever the fuck we feel like it, let's have the title match. Like there is no build, there is no programming, there is no storytelling, there is nothing. And the storytelling they do have, it's either piss poor or it's buried in the card for nobody to care about.
Mm-hmm.
Like the storytelling between Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and the Gun Club or the Ass Boys, whatever you want to call them,
it's just all backstage attacks.
They look like, and by the way, Gun Club, they look like two guys trying to cosplay HBK from the early 90s and look like shit doing it.
So the same as the Young Bucks?
Young Bucks, they're hippie HBKs. They're HBK meets Woodstock. That's their fashion sense. The Gun Club was just flat out trying to rip off early 90s HBK outfits. That's all it was. It was early HBK outfits meaning Zubaz. That was the Gun Club. The storytelling was really more Billy and Christian than the two teams.
Yep.
It's the Varsity Blondes and fucking Malachi. Ooh, he spit black mist. Like the storytelling had more to do with Julia than it did with the Blondes.
Right, and notice how they never went anywhere with Julia after that.
Except for her acting fucking weird now with the eye patch and like fuck all.
Acting like Alexa Bliss.
So this is basically leading to Julia Hart joining Malachi and Brody, I guess. I don't fucking know. There's kind of storytelling going on with Mercedes and Thunder Rosa. Kind of is, kind of isn't. Like maybe, I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing that the whole build for Mercedes and Thunder Rosa was Mercedes cost Thunder Rosa the women's title, and then they have
a TBS tournament,
in the TBS tournament. Then they have Mercedes attack Thunder Rosa with a pipe to get DQ'd, and so now they're going to have a no DQ match. Which, look, we're 6 weeks into the new year, and 4 of those 6 weeks of AEW television have featured a no DQ match now, counting this week.
Is it me, or were you shocked too that they didn't just say, fuck it, let's do a lights out match?
Right?
Like, Tony's like, fuck it, let's have a lights out match.
Every week, lights out match.
We're
going to change the name of the second hour of Dynamite to AEW Lights Out because it's different than AEW Dark.
The Batteries and More lights out match of the week features. Like, oh, God.
Right? It's like the lights out match of the week is like Raw Underground.
All they need is a big, stupid looking bodyguard. Oh, God almighty.
But we also
Paul White. Paul White could be the fucking bouncer that they had at Raw Underground.
You can't come in here. I'm a commentator.
That actually sounded pretty good. That's pretty close. I like that.
And then we got to talk about as much as the stupidity that happened on Dynamite, we got to talk about the dumbest thing AEW did over the week. Let's give a contract to a 16-year-old indie kid.
Yeah. They had Darby Allin show up at Defy Wrestling because Nick Wayne was fighting Christopher Daniels, who, by the way, his one eye is still fucked right now. Have you seen pictures of him lately?
Yeah.
Luckily, it's not the iris, so it's not affecting his vision, but like the white of the eye.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, sorry, I'm going long from this, but basically, Christopher Daniels was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet. And if you don't know who Chris Van Vliet is, he does a whole bunch of. He basically has kind of like a Colt Cabana thing going on where he does like a regular interview every week with a wrestler, whatever. But anyways, So he's getting interviewed by Van Vliet, and he was asked about the eye, and Van Vliet's Daniels is like, it's just one of those things where the doctor said it's not affecting your vision, but it's one of those things that can clear up in days. It could be weeks, could be months, could be years. But it doesn't affect your vision, so it's nothing to worry about. But anyways, so the 16-year-old kid wrestles Daniels at Defy Wrestling, and then Darby Allin comes out after the match and says, "Hey, bud, we have a contract for you." Here's the problem, though.
Kid still got high school to finish.
Not even that.
He's 16. He can't sign a contract.
Keep going.
He's not an adult.
Wrestle. He technically can't do anything until he's 18.
Right.
So, if anything, what? You can be an intern at the merch tables, pal. Like, what are you gonna do with this fucking kid?
Supposedly, it's going to be an apprenticeship program where he's going to go train at the. Oh, here's something else. Who runs the Nightmare Factory?
Technically, I believe it would be Cody.
Yeah. So what's going to happen to the Nightmare Factory now?
QT Marshall, probably.
Yay.
I mean,
which nothing against QT, but
he's been the face of it for the longest time. Like they happen to like Cody and them happen to call themselves a Nightmare Family, but the guys are really being the faces of the school. Were QT, Camarado, Solo, and that whole crew,
and fucking Peter Avalon, who got the can.
Yeah, so I mean, they could keep going with that hypothetically.
They could.
By the way, as we are recording this, there are multiple sources confirming that it's basically imminent, like any hour now. Cody and Brandi are going back to WWE.
Yeah, sure. I'll believe it when I see it.
Listen, again, I'm just reporting. Just reporting what I'm seeing.
Like, I'm sorry, but if Cody shows up in WWE, you realize he is going to be job guy extraordinaire.
Well, not only that, can we just put this out there? How hypocritical does he sound and look?
Oh, very.
Like, even just think of the shit that he said in that promo before the ladder match with Sammy. Like,
yeah. But I mean, he still has contracts with Time Warner, so I don't fucking see him showing up in fucking Stamford.
Dude, I'm just reporting what I'm seeing.
That's a fucking conflict of interest and a half. But yeah. So they signed the 16-year-old kid who can, and I guarantee it's just because this kid's an indie darling, and this is their answer to WWE signing Gable Steveson.
Which doesn't make any fucking sense because Gable Stevenson's the NCAA fucking wrestling champion, and this kid is
right.
Really knows how to.
But WWE locked him down before he's even ready, and that's why they're saying.
But Nick Wayne doesn't know how to do quadratic equations yet, let alone do a 5-star wrestling match.
I have two things. Number one, yeah, okay, hi, Defy Wrestling. You just celebrated your 5-year anniversary as a company. Yeah, you know something? There was a company long before you went around that was defiant. I'm just going to say that. That kind of irked me. But did you notice there was one other person who appeared on that show? And here's Darby handing a contract to this 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
While Shane fucking Strickland is right the fuck there.
Yep.
Like, you want to talk about somebody that didn't get a chance on the WWE main roster because stupid ass Uncle Phil looking fucking Top Dollar had to open his mouth. But that can talk and that has a fucking online presence and that will bust his ass for whoever fucking employs him. Fucking Shane Strickland is that fucking guy. And nope, we're going to give a contract to a 16-year-old.
And by the way, a Hit Row reunion was booked by an indie coming up soon.
Oh, God. I want to be a fly on the wall for that shit. Because I really want to see Swerve be like, this stupid motherfucker got us.
Bear with me for a second. I literally saw it as we were talking earlier. Hit Row reunion set for MCW Spring Fever in Maryland.
MCW? Oh, really?
Swerve, BFAB, Top Dollar, Ashante reunite March 19th. The promotion announced the news on Twitter group. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so they're all going to be there. Yeah, March 19th. Tickets
I
on
want to be
sale
a
now.
fly on the wall for that because I guarantee Top Dollar is going to run his fucking mouth and Swerve is going to knock him the fuck out.
Yeah, and Strickland's already been booked, by the way, for Terminus.
Yep.
With Gresham, which is Gresham's company.
Yep.
Progress out in Europe, and obviously you just mentioned his appearance at Defy.
Yep.
And I'm sorry I keep jumping in with this Cody Rhodes shit, but now there's also, I'm gonna read this quick and see if there's any. Now TMZ is getting in on this. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Dude, I'm telling you, this is fucking Time Warner fucking marketing this shit.
TMZ reporting there was a falling out between Cody and Tony Khan that probably played a part in Cody and Brandi leaving. Sources tell TMZ fallout between Khan's visibility within the company grew. Lawyers were involved with Cody and Brandi officially splitting from AEW yesterday after weeks of talks.
You know what this means? It means Jade Cargill's about to drop that fucking TV. That's going to be the sign. If Jade Cargill drops the hose title, then you know that this shit is legit. If she holds on to that fucking belt, that means that this is all fucking work. Because there is no reason. The only reason she's been so fucking protected there is because she was Brandi's bestie. Because she has no fucking talent.
Who the fuck is she going to drop it to?
Doesn't fucking matter. She drop it to Aqua. Don't give a fuck. If she don't drop it, the fix is in. Telling you this right now. Because that bitch is horrible.
WWE is apparently interested in her.
No, they're not. I saw that shit and said bullshit. Wardlow, I'd believe in. This bitch, no. Terrible. Bitch is terrible. Bitch looks like someone spilled bleach on a fucking Barbie doll and then put it in the microwave.
You don't think WWE could at least take her, like, her physical appearance and build from that?
No, because they already have jacked bitches.
Who?
Ivy Nile.
Okay, what the fuck are they doing with her?
Nothing yet because she's green as fuck. But guess what? So is Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill been on TV for 2 years.
All right. So let me put this out there. You put those two side by side. Who would you rather book a future on for 5 years? Ivy Nile or Jade Cargill?
Ivy Nile.
Fuck out of here.
I'm serious, dude. Jade Cargill is that fucking terrible. Okay, yay. She looks like a fucking fitness model. That's great. The bitch's hair looks like fucking bleached hay and is going to fall out within the next 5 years. Bitch can't talk. That's why they put her with piece of shit Mark Sterling. Like, no. Bitch is terrible.
That's what NXT is for, though. It's for fixing shit that needs to be fixed.
And if they were to bring her into NXT, she would go around big leaguing the fuck out of everyone because she thinks she's a fucking superstar because that's what Brandi put in her fucking head.
You think Sarah Del Rey would fucking allow that?
Sarah Del Rey would beat the fuck out of her and then go to fucking Michaels and be like, fire this bitch. Like, you want to talk about being somewhere for a cup of coffee? Jade Cargill, they signed her to NXT. I give her 3 weeks.
I don't know. I think we have not a strong disagreement, but I think we have different thoughts there.
Terrible.
Anyways,
all her entrance music is going to be Charles Barkley coming out going terrible.
I only have one. So we basically have already kind of sort of covered Rampage-ish.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned Bucks and Roppongi. We mentioned the tag title match, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Nothing else is really worth reviewing there.
No one cares about Rampage. Like,
there's
it's a pre-taped 1 hour show.
There's only one thing I'm going to mention. It's a question. Not a question. It's a statement I have to make. Because I've been trying to wrap my head around this for weeks, and I just can't. And I just have to fucking say it.
Okay.
I don't understand Hook.
We covered this.
But I don't. Number one, they're trying to say he's handsome, good looking, whatever.
No, he's not. He's ugly.
No. Needs a haircut for starters. For starters, he needs a haircut. Number one. Number two, I don't get what they're like. Like, I don't get character-wise what they're trying to do with him. Like, they're trying to...
He's supposed to be a badass heel that everyone likes. Because that's the thing.
No, not even that. I'm like, that's the face value of it. Like, the mannerisms, the walk to the ring, the walk from the ring, they're not staying for the referee to raise his hand and just leaving right after the match. Like, the whole...
Because he's a badass shooter because it's in his blood.
The whole... I don't get the whole...
Because that was Taz's
package.
thing.
To a degree,
it was
yes,
Taz's
to a degree,
thing
no.
to walk to the fucking ring, not give a fuck, but fucking tap a guy out and leave in a minute.
Generally speaking, yes. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like,
it's the market. Like, look at how much they have marketed that fucking kid. Think if they had put as much emphasis into marketing their actual overall product instead of just one individual. Think about what they could accomplish. Because literally all it is marketing hype with this kid.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's terrible because the kid's fucking terrible. There's, like I said before, there's like I said it a few weeks back. There's a reason why he's only on Rampage. It's so they can edit his fucking matches. And everyone's like, he's so crisp. No, it's because you're not seeing all the fuck ups.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I'm sorry, TJ Wilde. You're fucking wrong.
All right. Is there anything else we need to really touch on at all?
With AEW? No, God, please. Leave it. Fucking fuck him. Fuck him.
All right. So before we get into WWE, I have to bring this dude up.
Fuck him. Fuck him.
Matt Cardona is essentially becoming the new belt collector in place of Kenny Omega.
Fuck him.
But the level of disgrace of this belt collecting makes me want to puke.
It's indie belt collecting. It doesn't mean shit.
Well,
the only belt that matters is the only belt, quote unquote, matters that he has right now is the goddamn Impact YouTube belt.
That's not the one I'm bringing up.
Oh, I know which one you're going to bring up. And you know something? Shit don't count. Shit hasn't counted since fucking TNA split with fucking NWA.
So we all know about the Impact digital media title, which he's already degraded by pairing it with his internet title, which makes me want to fucking vomit. And then he has one or two other. He doesn't have the GCW title anymore, thank God.
He's got a couple of random indie belts.
Right. So let me get to the NWA show this past weekend where he got a world title shot against Trevor Murdoch for the 10 pounds of gold. And they put Cardona over, and he becomes the new champ.
And then he proceeds to cut a promo in the ring, talking about thanking himself.
And Mike Knox and Chelsea Green and whoever the fuck VSK is comes in and celebrates with him.
VSK is one of WrestlePro's students.
Yeah, fuck him. And then all this comes out, cuts him off, and basically says he never got his rematch with Murdoch, so now he wants the rematch against Cardona. Whatever. Has Billy Corgan lost his gourd?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, at least with Cody, I understood it. It was business. With Trevor, I could live with it because Trevor's he's a
workhorse.
Like, right. It makes sense. As far as like the lineage of the title.
Yeah.
Cardona makes zero fucking sense from a historical perspective, from a current day perspective, from an everything perspective.
Look at all of NWA's champions right now.
Sense.
Look at all of NWA's champions.
Well, Crimson's their new, what is it? The fucking, what's their mid belt North American title?
Oh, they took it off of fucking Chris Masters?
Yeah, Crimson won it.
Oh, God, that's even worse.
Crimson won it on Saturday.
Oh, God.
What's it? I'm sorry.
I think it's North American, but then their fucking TV champion is fucking Tyrus.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all ex WWE or ex fucking like it's well I at least fucking but Crimson's just awful. Oh,
Yeah, let me see this right now. Hang on.
the fucking Lance Von Erich of Amazing Red's family.
List of national championship. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Um, yes, the world title is on Cardona. Bear with me here. The women's title is still on Camille. The TV title is on Tyrus.
Yeah.
The tag titles are on La Rebellion. The women's tag titles, I believe, are still on Allison K. Oh no, yeah, Allison K and Marty Bell.
Okay.
National title. Jesus, talk about a company that has too many belts for no fucking reason.
It's the NWA.
Who the fuck is Anthony Mayweather? Oh, that is Crimson. Why would they list him as Anthony? Is that what he's going by now?
Gotta be because Crimson is probably owned by Impact.
Oh yeah, so Anthony Mayweather. Okay, sorry.
Well,
Impact.
at least he's not using the Crimson name anymore because that was cringe.
And then they're establishing the World Junior Heavyweight title again.
Oh God.
Hold on, give me a second here. Oh yeah, they're doing a tournament to reinstate the belt, and they're crowning a new champion at the Crockett Cup event next month.
Isn't the Crockett Cup supposed to be for tag teams? Well, yeah, it is.
That's when they're also having the Cardona Aldis match for the title.
Okay.
Oh fuck me.
What?
Well, first of all, they're doing it. It's a 2-day event they're doing, so it makes sense that they're adding matches to it. It's a 2-day event. It's going to be on the 19th and 20th in Nashville at the fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, here are the teams that are signed on already. There's 6 teams in this Crockett Cup tournament.
They were hard up for finding teams, so God knows what they filled it with.
La Rebellion, the Briscoes. They're reuniting Doug Williams and Nick Aldis as British Invasion.
Okay.
Chris Adonis and Tom Latimer, Strictly Business.
Mm-hmm.
OGK, Bennett and Taven. And then the Fixers, Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky.
Oh!
And apparently there's going to be 10 more teams named. So
yeah, and they can't find people to fill the shit because apparently tag teams have been contacting them and they've been lowballing them on fucking pay.
That's great.
And basically, and completely breaking the wall. Apparently, they've been lowballing them on pay and telling them they have to pay for their own trans and hotel.
Here's what's interesting. The Fixers have already beaten OGK technically in this tournament because they had a match at the Power Trip pay-per-view, and the Fixers won.
That's nice.
Anyways, so they booked Cardona and Aldis as for the day 1 show. Day 2 is when they're going to crown a new World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Do you know the 4 people that are going to be in this match? It's going to be a 4-way, by the way.
Do I even want to fucking know?
First off, Darius Lockhart, who I'm not going to lie, I've heard the name, don't remember what he looks like.
Yeah. No.
Entrant number 2, Colby Carino.
Okay.
Entrant number 3, Homicide.
Okay.
Entrant number 4 is where you're going to lose your shit. Think about it. Think about junior heavyweights who grew a little too big for their britches when they won a heavyweight title a few times. Always had an ego. Always had an ego.
Mikey Bats.
Won a world title in Ring of Honor and in Impact. Well, TNA.
Fucking
Brainbuster.
Fucking Austin Aries. Yeah, Billy Corgan's lost his damn mind.
Yep.
Corgan has lost his fucking mind. Like, I get it, Corgan. You love the business and you want to be part of the business. But let's call a spade a spade. You're a fucking money mark. You don't know how to book.
He's a musician living in a wrestling world.
Exactly. Like, And the thing is, like, that can happen. Like, let's go back in history. Smoky Mountain Wrestling was bankrolled by Rick Rubin.
Yep.
But he let Cornette do all the booking.
Correct. He basically just
The
started
only
playing
thing
check all the time.
The only thing Rick Rubin wanted was a mummy. And Cornette fucking let him do that. And he was like, yeah, you know something? That was a bad idea.
Well, no shit.
But at least he admitted, okay, we tried it. We're done.
And then WCW tried a mummy, and you see how that went over.
That wasn't a mummy. That was the Yeti.
It's dressed like a fucking mummy.
It's the Yeti.
It was dressed like a mummy.
It's the Yeti.
Who gives a fuck? It was dressed like a mummy.
Hug of Doom.
More like the deep. It looked more like the DP of Doom, the way that Yeti was shaking. If you're ignorant, if you're ignorant and don't know what a DP is, go look up what a DP is.
If you're on the internet and don't know what a DP is, why are you on the internet?
Very true.
But anyways, fuck Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
I sat back because I remember because the thing is he's still like WWE is still rent free in his fucking head because he went and he released that fucking like 4-panel fucking picture on Twitter of the thing of the day he got the listing of when he got released with all the other people that got released with him, and then the pictures of him with the GCW title and the Impact YouTube title and the fucking NWA title.
10 pounds of gold, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, okay, you know something? The NWA title doesn't really mean much nowadays. They're a company with a YouTube show. Yay. And I tried getting into watching NWA. I tried so fucking hard. And it's damn near unwatchable.
I got into it until they did the comeback after COVID.
See,
well,
I didn't
not
even...
that COVID's ended, but like when they originally came back and they had the show, I was like, all right, I can live with this. Like this from the tour when they like the first big program was Storm and all this. Like,
yeah,
I can live with that. But then once they took that break and then came back recently
yeah, like I can't get into it. And it's like people like, oh, the lineage and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you know something? This is the same thing as back when Shane Douglas won the NWA title and they talked about it in the fucking Forever Hardcore DVD and it was Mike Johnson that was like, all it was a bunch of indies going, we're part of the NWA. Like, right. It doesn't matter. Like the only time the NWA title held some clout again was when it was on TNA. Like it wasn't a lot, but at least it was televised and it was on pay-per-view and it was something. But then once Impact split from them, then the NWA just became an indie title again. Like that's all it is. And so getting back to WWE rent free in his head. Like all he does is still bitch about WWE, and like everyone's like, he's living his best life and he shows that there's life after WWE. No, he is chasing indie bookings and making a living on bilking money marks out of single paydays. Because
which is funny because you know what he's doing the weekend before this NWA pay-per-view?
Let me guess. He's working some jackwagon company in Nashville. I don't know.
So I said it was the weekend of the 19th and 20th?
Yeah.
Sunday, March 13th, live at the Washington Avenue Armory in Albany, New York. Matt Cardona, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, will team with Brian Myers to take on
the Hardy Boys. Was that one of the is that for big time
wrestling?
Yep. Oh, okay. Because NEW just announced today that they're going to do a bunch of Hardy Boys dates now too.
Nope, that's for big time wrestling.
Jesus, like it's and once again, like and so when WWE did the cuts, they actually apparently there was word that got around about them releasing Cardona, and apparently word around the campfire was one of the reasons they let him go is because he was so much of a damn mark that he never stopped being a goddamn mark, and it's like that you can have your boyhood dream. And yeah, I get all that. But eventually you have to grow up. And a belt is a prop. and you are there to do a job. And I remember, like, because everyone talks about, oh, they misused him for so long and blah 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 blah. No, I'm gonna show you the timeline of where everything went wrong for Matt Cardona. He started doing the Long Island original story YouTube videos, which were funny. I watched them.
Well, it started before that, but go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, like, because that was when he started doing the Internet Champion stuff. When he was doing those YouTube shows.
Okay.
He starts doing the Internet Champion thing, and he had like the little plastic belt, and then like he actually had the Internet title made, which was fine and everything. And it's like, so he was doing that.
Because he hadn't done anything since he was an edgehead.
Exactly. Like they tried to give him a semi push in the new ECW, and it just wasn't catching on. So you got him doing this stuff, and I watched the episodes. I'll admit it. What happened was the moment they decided to take the gamble on this kid and put the U.S. title on him, that's when things needed to be taken up a step. That's when he should have started figuring out that he needs to do more than just promote himself. That's when you are officially handed the fucking ball. You need to be a company man. He should have started using those bits to say, okay, I'm the U.S. champion. He should have incorporated into those episodes where they would be for house shows, where they would be for episodes, who he was going to try to defend the title against, or who was chasing the title. He never incorporated any of that into the YouTube show that he was doing, and he just kept it all about him and his goofy little antics. That's where they sat back and looked and they went, you know something? We decided to strap a small rocket to this kid to see if it would get. And they even gave him that big ass rub where it was the thing with him and Punk and Danielson in the crowd with all three of them with their belts. And it was the big fucking hurrah of the internet darlings finally made it and all this shit. And then what happened was his merch sales didn't go up. Ticket sales didn't go up. Ratings didn't go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that it all should have been put on his back, but he did nothing to help any of those issues. And that's why there's the well-known conversation he had with Trips backstage where he was like, I'm blah, 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 and I'm the most over guy you have. And Trips goes, yeah, look at all those people that are here to see you, and points to an empty section of seats. Because, and this is when I first started saying it, and this was 10 years ago, was YouTube views don't equal ratings. And it's amazing how it's been a decade and I still have to keep repeating that. And so then what happens is he does a thing, and then and they even tried to be nice to him, and they gave him that WrestleMania moment in New York where he won the Intercontinental title. They gave him his moment because he's a fucking mark, and he didn't have a WrestleMania moment. Remember he won the Intercontinental title in a ladder match and then dropped it to Ziggler the next night on Raw?
Was that New York?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was one of those.
I thought that was the first Dallas WrestleMania.
I know his dad was there, so that's why I figured it was New York.
I thought that was the Dallas. Go ahead. Keep going, though. I'll look it up.
Well, either or. His dad was, he had his dad there, so he had his big WrestleMania moment, because that's the thing, is WrestleMania is all about WrestleMania moments. It's things you can look back on. It's not about the quality of the matches. It's what happened at that Mania. That's why people still bitch about Sheamus versus Danielson being 8 seconds long, but guess what? You still remember it to this day. So he wins the Intercontinental title, and then the next night they're like, all right, you got your moment, Mark. Now it's time for us to get back to reality.
Yeah, that was the Dallas WrestleMania where they had over the 101,000. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. But still, he got his moment in front of the biggest WrestleMania crowd ever. Like, you got your moment, you got your payday. Now it's time to get back to reality. And then he sat there and he bitched. And the thing, and if you notice, it was after he lost the U.S. title, he stopped doing his YouTube show. Like, he randomly popped up one time, like out of like a bunch of months, and did one where he was doing the thing and he was standing with the internet title. And then he sat there and went, what the hell am I doing? And just walks away. It was like a 30-second long episode. And then he stopped doing them. It was like, dude, you sat there and sulked in a fucking corner because they put a fucking belt on you, and then you did nothing to help elevate yourself. And then you got all bitchy that they gave you the fucking storyline where fucking Kane shoved you off a fucking ramp in a wheelchair and all that shit. It's like, dude, you were on TV still. They were trying to create sympathy for you. Do I think it was the greatest storyline? No. But it's all a matter of the perspective of how you look at it as an employee of the big company. And he never thought of the greater good. He never thought of there is something bigger than me at work here. He has always had a fucking ego. So when they let him go, he sat there and he said, I'm going to, and it's like that's when he could have gone out and said, something, I'm going to go make a name for myself in the indies. And hopefully one day, maybe I'll get back there. No, he decided to go on the indies and sit there and take jabs at WWE every fucking step of the way. He turned into Cody. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, okay, so you did a death match, yay. And then you decide, oh, I'm going to dress like Vince and I'm going to get a fucking spinner GCW belt and all this shit. It's like, we get it, dude. You're mad at WWE. We fucking get it. You can drop it now. But no, he's still going. So like he puts up the goddamn poll on his Twitter where he's like, what should I do with this NWA belt? Purple strap or spinner plate? Nobody fucking cares. Die. No one cares. Fucking seriously. Nobody cares. This isn't going to get more fucking views on NWA. People are going to be like, oh, look, I've seen it already. I've seen it in comments on fucking social media sites where people are like, oh, look, Mid Cardona is at it again. People are like, he's the new belt collector. It doesn't count. Sidebar. This has bothered me for the past like 8-9 years. When a certain indie talent starts getting booked in a few places and certain places put titles on them, the one thing you don't fucking do is you don't go on social media and take a picture with all your fucking belts. It's like, oh, look, this is how many companies have stock in me. No, you know what you're showing? You're showing that to the casual fan, why are they going to see you in their local company when that local company obviously means this much to you in the grand scheme of things because you have all these belts. So all these other companies are more important. That's what happened with fucking two of the biggest pieces of shit that the fucking indies have ever seen. Fucking JT Dunn and David Starr. Fucking juicy product. When they went on that fucking run in like 2015 where they won like 8 tag titles in a row, including the WSU tag titles. That was a women's company.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do pictures of them with all the belts. And that was the picture that they told companies had to be put on the flyers of fucking shows that they were on. No, nobody fucking cares. Yay, you got a bunch of fucking replica belts. Fuck off. You show up in a company that's working with another company and you hold 2 belts and you held a belt in each company. That's one thing. Like when we would book AR Fox and he would come out with the CZW Wired title. It's because we were working with CZW. What?
You mentioned AR Fox and yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, Fox was known to do that too, but at least like when he would come with us, like we would be like, all right, only like we'll acknowledge this belt and this belt or whatever. We'll, and just work with it that way. Fucking when Tremont worked credible, Tremont was the Combat Zone champ. And when Tremont agreed to lay down, we were like, well, do you really want to come out with a Combat Zone title? And he was like, absolutely. Like, it wasn't a matter, that there's a big difference there. As we consulted with him with it. And he was like, no, absolutely. I would like to do this. And that was fine. It wasn't a guy showing up with another company's title going, look at how fucking great I am. Another prime example, the fucking problem we had in NSFW with fucking Christian Frost. Fucking put the belt on him and that fucker went out in public everywhere with that goddamn belt, taking pictures of himself at fucking Stop and Shop with that goddamn belt, showing up to other indie shows, guy buying a ticket and sitting in the crowd with that goddamn belt. And then decides to take a booking from the company that we were having the most issues with and shows up on their show with that goddamn belt. And then wonders why he was stripped of that goddamn belt a week later. It's a prop. And it's a prop that belongs to someone who pays you. I hate to be the one to kill the kayfabe on this, but that is the fucking case.
Hydrate.
Uh-huh.
Well done. Since we are close to approach the 2-hour mark, and I know we have a lot more to get into, I'm going to propose a 2-part episode here.
If you want.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick time out, regroup, and then we'll get into everything involving WWE, including previewing Elimination Chamber coming up this weekend. We also have quick news notes to mention from Impact, from Ring of Honor, from New Japan. Yeah, we got more to get into, so stick around. We'll be back on the other side. Two
Yeah.
of this